Let's return to one of our top stories, which is the aftermath of the killings that took place in Yelwata, Benue State. To discuss this, we're being joined by an indigene of Yelwata, but is based in the United States. Mr. Frank Utor is a policy research analyst at the University of Central Oklahoma. A pleasure having you with us on the program.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Utor, the president has visited Benue State to assess the situation and has spoken to leaders to ensure the violence stops. Now, is this what the people are hoping to hear?
Well, his visit yesterday was that of mixed feelings from the people, partly exciting and partly unexciting. The exciting part was exactly what the Totif said yesterday, that this is the first time a president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria could visit Benue State during moments of crisis. Of course, we've had plethora of crisis in the last 20 years, that consumes so many lives. So I think that's part of the exciting moment we recorded yesterday. The unexciting moment is that the president never really inspired hope. For me, as a firm believer, I've studied as part of my modules, war studies. I realized that most presidents of the world made their marks during moments of crisis, moments of war, moments of violence and terror, such as this. Presidents, leaders like Prime Minister Churchill, Abraham Lincoln, even recently in 2011, Jens Stoltenberg, who was the Prime Minister of Norway. It was because of that he became even the NATO Secretary General for 10 years, from 2014 to 2024. So when the president came yesterday, we expected him to move to Yelwata, meet with the people directly, for goodness sake. That was what George Bush did. George Bush went to the rebels of 911, and from there he inspired a nation. He gave a speech promising to take justice to the terrorists, or bringing the terrorists to justice, or whichever round, justice must be done. And then he said they are not going to make any distinction between the terrorists who committed that act and the people who sponsored them. And of course, the rest is history. We know what they did to Osama bin Laden. We know what they did, right or wrong, in Iraq. So because when I looked at the audience yesterday that the president was addressing, 80% of them were coming from Abuja. From the ministers to the governors to the senators to even some of the Benue elites. You are talking to our stakeholders. I think the meeting ought to have taken place in Abuja, because 80% of the stakeholders were from Abuja. There are nobody from the host community, no CAN president who has been speaking on this, the CAN chairman of Benue State, the Catholic Bishop of Makurdi Diocese, his Lordship Bishop Anagbe, So that is the part that we found not inspiring. But we thank him. He was able to give a marching instruction to the Chief of Defense Staff, General Musa, that he should go after the killers and bring them to justice. So we have started our countdown. This is the first day number 1, after the president has issued that marching order. We'll be counting down till forever to when these killers are apprehended and brought to justice. And of course, we can assist them with the location of these killers, because they are always coming from Nasarawa State, from the axis of Obi local government, Kiana local government, Duma local government, Awe local government. I don't know why Nasarawa State has become a safe haven for these terrorists, because even the ones attacking Plateau were coming from Mahanga Forest in Wamba local government. So maybe the governor of Nasarawa State has something to say. I wasn't excited by his presence yesterday. I think it was quite cosmetic, because the most important thing was why these guys have found Nasarawa State as a safe haven, the launching pad for terror attacks, genocidal attacks in Benue State.
Mr. Utor, if I may come in, going forward, what do you expect to happen after this going forward? Briefly, if you can quickly tell us.
Okay, going forward, the first thing is justice. Martin Luther King Jr. said, peace is not just the absence of crisis, but the presence of justice. So the first thing is justice, because that will serve as the biggest deterrent. And then the second is, for goodness sake, Benue State has a open grazing prohibition law. That is a valid law. The president ought to have directed the security agents to enforce this law. It's a valid law. It has been tested even by the Fulani groups in court, and court upheld the law. So the president, as the custodian of Nigerian laws, as the custodian of the constitution, ought to have directed the Nigerian security agents to make sure they enforce the law. And then number 3, look, we've been having antiquated, outdated security measures in our land. It's not all about mounting checking points. Like, okay, they've deployed, the day that this attack happened in Yelwata, only 4 soldiers were there. Only 4 in that community. And of course, we gave the soldiers intelligence report that these guys were coming. I still have it in my phone. Intelligence report. So now we want the federal government to put up a control and command center to get a fortified response team stationed along the axis of Makurdi to Abuja Highway, and then activate an emergency response number, a globally renowned number like 999 or 911, so that when you see any threat anywhere, you call these things and then they will react immediately. It's not all about mounting checkpoints. It doesn't happen through the roads. It's happened in the bushes.
Mr. Otho, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us on the program.
And that's the program. Thank you very much. You're welcome.